say Cardi B?
Yeah, I wonder if that's where she got it from.
What?
The camera, it comes up, Card B.
Oh, got it. You don't even know who Cardi B is. Do you?
Some person who doesn't know how to sing.
I like her music. I think Nicki Minaj is better.
I mean, come on, man, John. You listen to Eminem. Of course you would like. Cardi B.
Eminem sends me music that's not even been released.
Like the Dungeons and Dragon one, or like the Wizard of Oz one.
Wizard of Oz.
Yes, he also has a Wizard of Oz rap song.
I don't know, but I'm sure I've heard it.
You've heard it.
You know, Rob Bailey redid some shit of his.
Really?
Yeah, it was on Southpaw, the movie Southpaw, at the end with Busta Rhymes.
How does that? So does Rob Bailey? I mean, I'm sure I'm not in this. I'm not in those circles, so I wouldn't know. But Rob Bailey would have had to have gotten permission from.
No, it was a collaboration, I believe, and he got paid for it. It was in the movie, like it's at the end of the fucking movie. So whoever owns the rights to it. What am I doing?
You're looking at the time and date. You're looking for time and date.
5/17, March 19th, podcast episode 64.
64, getting close to that
100
mark. What did you do with the other ones?
So those are brand new.
Brand new.
These are still from fucking another podcast.
Another podcast. All right.
We'll just jump right in.
We'll jump right in.
What are we building right now? Marpat tool bags.
Well, we're not building them right now.
They're done.
They're done. So
what else? There's a ton of Tiffany shit I saw.
How many are out there? What are we
8,
selling for? 95 bucks a piece?
No, I think they're less than maybe. I don't know.
I'm just thinking how much.
Let's say 100. Make it easy.
I'm just trying to figure out how much it's going to cost me to keep those from getting out on the street.
Oh, gotcha.
You know, I'm gonna have to buy those up because I think like normal people are getting them, and it's jeopardizing the whole Marpat life. Hashtag
Marpat life.
Marpat life. Marpat porn.
Marpat life. Marpat life.
We're doing Women's Day.
Does Gina have a Marpat tattoo?
She does not.
You should have something on her tattooed Marpat. Maybe like one boob. And then go Woodland on the other boob.
That's how I was actually thinking about doing something like that.
I like it. You should have half of her whole body done in Marpat.
And half in Woodland.
Half in Woodland.
Yeah.
And not like upper half, lower half. I mean split down the middle.
Split right
or maybe
down the
front
middle.
Back. Front and back.
Maybe
so
front back.
So weird. Man, they cut a fucking ton of tool bags. Tool bags, now they're cutting a bunch of 24-inch duffels. Cutting a lot of shit. We're Women's Day.
Women's Days are coming
tomorrow.
up. Yeah, they're coming up. I got some on the table right now.
All right. Well, damn, you just answered my question about the ghost before I asked before. Israel is milking us, American taxpayers, and for what? We get nothing in return except daily news segments about more dead Palestinian kids. And Trump, the puppet, just keeps giving and giving to the Zionists. Well, Roy, that's because that's the elite. Trump is in the very, very bottom echelon of the elite. Probably not even in the elite. Not a member of Kabul.
But Trump is, so you think about, somebody said this the other day, which is 100% true. Trump is what poor people think rich people are like.
Yes.
So Trump is, Trump is what poor people think rich people's like. Like, I'm going to put my name on a fucking building. I'm going to be in the World Wrestling Federation. I'm going to own a limousine. Trump is what, but he's a fucking billionaire. As far as your anti-Israeli cabal bullshit, I mean, whatever. The Nazi Party's always looking for new candidates. The Israelis give us tons of shit. Right now, they are in the middle of the fucking hornet's nest. And as long as those Palestinians and all those people are looking at Israel, they're not really looking over here. So the reason why it's good to have the Israelis funded and fed is because when Palestine falls, we're going to be next. Period. That's just the way it is. The Iranians, death to Israel, death to America, it's a domino, my friend. So if in fact the day came where Israel looked like it was going to fall, I would actually get on an airplane and go over there and do what I could to keep Israel from falling, because that is the thorn in the tiger's paw. And as long as Israel's in the Middle East and they are there, they will keep all those fucking wackos busy.
How about this, Roy? So, what if Israel just stopped? Like, let's say they stop, right? They stop launching rockets or whatever. I'm guessing that's what we're talking about is rockets. is the other side not also launching rockets? Like, if Israel said, okay, ceasefire, would it really just stop? I mean, would Israel live in peace? They'd just be there and nobody would nobody would overrun the gates? I mean, how do you think that's going to work?
It doesn't. The problem is, the problem that we have as Americans, the problem we have as Westerners, period, is we're not looking at, we look at Muslims as a religious sect. It is not a religious sect. It is a cult, and that cult is to dominate the fucking world. Death or conversion or death. That is their mantra. It doesn't matter. I don't care if you think that nice little mosque is down there all peaceful. Look, ISIS, you can say what you want. Oh, America made ISIS. Those guys were already there. That shopkeeper that grabbed an AK-47 and then went and started fucking chopping the heads off of Christians, he was already there. He was already indoctrinated in that religion of violence and hate. So, I mean, you can say what you want, but
how did Israel get there? The Jews just escaped Nazi Germany and fucking went there and set up Israel, or did we fucking go, this is your land, and we fucking pushed everybody
so basically, the land of Israel has always been the land of Israel. And now what you're gonna have the argument is, oh, it was Muslim land. They've always been battling over it, but the existence of the Israeli state predates Egyptian times. So Israel has always laid claim to that part of the world. So not Israel, the state, but Israelis or Jews have always laid claim to that part of the state. It's always been that way. That's why the Temple Mount is built on top of the holiest Jewish place in the entire world, because the Muslims wanted to say, fuck you. Anyways, it's always been part of their belief that the state of Israel. At the end of World War II, because everybody was fucking wholesale slaughtering Jews, at the end of World War II, the United Nations said, not us, not America, but the United Nations said, hey, you can have this piece of land.
Who is everybody was wholesaling slaughtering Jews?
Well, I mean, if you think about all the...
Other than Hitler.
Well,
other than Germans.
All the good ones. They were doing it in fucking the Soviet Union. They were doing it in Germany. Then the reality is in 1950, even here in the United States, it wasn't really that good of a place to be Jewish. So what ended up happening is the United Nations gave Israel the state of Israel. Israel got there, and they were immediately attacked by every Arab nation that could possibly attack them. And so, of course, they whipped their asses. The Israelis whipped everybody's asses that tried to take that land away from them.
So the Israelis were not the death camp Jews that were liberated.
No. So they didn't. It wasn't like the United Nations said, "Hey, here's Israel," and they started busing people from the death camps. So Israel, I'm almost positive that the state of Israel wasn't until 1946 or 48, I think. 1948.
When were the Germans overthrown?
1945. So
okay.
The war ended in 1945. Okay. So what ended up happening is the state of Israel gets created. When the state of Israel gets created, all the Jews of Europe start migrating to Israel. So I'm talking about, tattooed real... So a lot of Soviet Jews,
So when we overthrew Hitler, we liberated Germany, liberated all the camps.
Yeah.
Why didn't they just stay there?
Well, because Israel, the place that they are at, the place
I'm talking about the Jews. Why didn't they just fucking take all their property back?
Interesting. Because the governments of those nations were not going to give their property back to them. I mean, hell, there is still known, like, out in the open, Jewish property that is still locked up in Switzerland.
Yeah, Gabby was talking about
still locked up in Switzerland.
Yeah, to get it back.
Still locked up in Switzerland.
So, if the Jews are strong enough and have a will enough to fight to defend Israel against those kind of numbers, why the fuck didn't they fucking fight the Germans?
Oh, well, so that's an interesting thing that most people don't understand is the Jewish faith. So when you look at the Jewish faith from the time of Christ to the time of World War II Germany, the Jewish faith believes, so if they believe that your time on earth is suffer. So the more you suffer, the more closer you are to God. So when they're getting marched off to these, now, and understandably, what most people don't know is the Germans used a lot of pretty tricky kind of, they manipulated the system.
When they took them off of the train cars, it was other Jews that met them. It was other Jews that took them in to get deloused, except they weren't fucking deloused. They weren't given showers. They were fucking killed.
Like, look at if you really want some interesting stories, look at when the Germans removed the Jews from Belgium. Like, these were very, very upper class Jewish, not that they, the thing is, by the time they were actually pulling Jews out of Germany to send to these camps, they had already lost all their property. They had already lost their ability to, create an income. But when they got to Belgium and they started moving those Jews out of Belgium, these people are dressing up in suits and putting on furs and getting on the trains with their luggage because they think they're going
to United States
somewhere nice. Yeah. So
they just thought they were being kicked out.
And then when you got to the death camps, one of the things that here's a portion for you to drink about. One of the things that most people don't know is, so when those trains got to the camps, they would always play music. They would play some sort of opera music or whatever type of music, some sort of soothing to calm the people as they get off the trains. And the fences. So when you got onto the platform, and you were directed to go here or there, wherever you were directed to, and basically it was solely based off your capability of work. So unfortunately, all the old people, a lot of the women, a lot of the children went towards the death part of the camp. If you had a skill set, you usually went towards the labor part of the camp. But all those fences, the fences that they had there are, I want to say they're 8.5 feet tall. They have razor wire on top of the fences, but they planted roses on all the fences.
I was just I remember something about flowers.
So when you're walking down into, as you are basically being driven into these cattle troughs, it doesn't look as ominous as it really is. Until you are actually at the point where they're like, hey, strip off all your clothes. You're going in there for a shower. Another interesting thing that came about from that is almost all of horrific. The Germans did some horrific things in World War II, but almost all of the things that were done inside the camp when it came to extermination, actually pushing people into the shower area or taking the bodies out of the shower area and burning them, were done by other Jews. So you actually, most people don't know what they are capable of until they are in a situation like that. Even when you hear about the ghettos, the Dachau ghettos were policed by a Jewish community. The Germans actually went in there and said, this guy right here is in charge. This is your quorum of individuals in charge. You need to make this run or we're going to come and put somebody else in charge. So there was a lot of, I don't want to say co-conspiracy, but in order for you to kill 5 million Jews, there's a lot of people that you need to have on board with that. And Germans were not they were not immune to the frailties of the slaughter. They had a really, really hard time keeping in the in the brown shirts, the guys that actually went out, the Gestapo that actually went out and rounded people up and just executed them, they had a really hard time keeping officers in those units because they would slowly start to go fucking crazy because, you know, wholesale massacre stuff it's hard.
Hitler actually, in the middle of the night, rounded up all of the officers that were in charge of that program, I believe, and had them all fucking killed simultaneously at night when the SS stood up and took over that program.
So it's very interesting in those scenarios. But anyways, that's basically what happened. The Jewish faith, at that time they believed in suffering. World War II's over. We have suffered enough. We are going to establish a state. They established this, you know, the United Nations actually established the state of Israel and puts the Israelis in there. And then because they're Jewish, the entire Muslim world begins to attack them for the next 20 years. And they are able to hold on. One of the things that a lot of people will talk about is the reality of when you say Palestinians and how you know, they have just as much claim to the land as the Jews. It's actually not true. Palestinians are actually nomadic tribes from Jordan. So the Palestinians are actually supposed to be in Jordan. But guess what? The king of Jordan does not want the Palestinians either because, well, I mean, they have an idea of the world that does not conflate with everybody else. So that's why the Palestinians, you know, and I understand I'm generalizing. All Palestinians are not that way. Beirut used to be they used to call it the Mecca, not the Mecca, but the
something playground, wasn't it?
Yeah, it used to be, you know, where all the rich and it was kind of like Cuba. All the rich and famous of Europe would go to Beirut and party it up in Beirut before they had all the problems with Yasser Arafat and all that. So that's a long story on Israel. I'm sure there's like 10 Jewish people on here that are going to be like, we don't like to suffer. But that is written in the faith. Almost all faiths, if you look at them from the Old Testament, is your lot in life on this planet is to suffer and to suffer unto God. And the more you suffer, the holier the more crowns you will wear in heaven. So
I think a lot of the descendants, having come from those families, obviously have a different mindset now. I mean, we know Jewish guys right now that are some of the toughest fucking people we know, and that they're definitely definitely not going to be rounded up and put in camps.
Yeah, they have definitely changed. They have definitely changed their tunes.
Keep in mind too, the Nazis, they had a lot of warm up before the Jews while they were pushing them and moving them and all that shit. They did it incrementally, little by little, so it wasn't as bad. Well, if we just move over here, we'll be okay. Yeah, we're going to leave here. And they pushed literally 80% of the population into 10% of the real estate. But remember, before they killed all the Jews, they had a lot of fucking warm-up and practice. They went through all the fucking asylums, racial hygiene, went through all the asylums, went through all the prisons.
All the gypsies.
So while you're watching some shit happen in your life right now to some other people that you're okay with, you're only a couple steps removed from that shit coming to you. Keep in mind, that shit that we were all okay with back then, everything they were okay with, let's say, well, we don't need these fucking crazy people. Half of your fucking people in the asylums were not crazy. They were simply people that the families didn't want or they weren't willing to work, whatever it was. And then the prisoners, well, those are bad guys. It's okay. Let's just fucking do that. Even in the United States, they sterilized some 600,000 people in prison population during eugenics. So while we're okay with the things that are happening to other people, keep in mind, history says that is a warm-up on how to do it to you. Hey guys, what's your thoughts on the shooting that happened in New Zealand today? That fucker even said his plan was to cause division and give gun grabbers more fuel for the unconstitutional fire. Hold on. So, the gotcha motherfucker, right? There's dudes fucking all over the place up in arms saying that this means white power. The only way I could figure it means this is because this is a P and this is a W. Maybe that is a symbol for WP now. I don't know, but this has been around a long fucking time. I mean, fuck, we even have a shirt with it on there.
Yeah, I remember doing it as a kid. So.
Yeah, fucking. I found a photograph from 1930s, 35s, and it's a family, and they're just sitting there, very staunch face, no smile, no emotion. How people used to take photos back then, and the kid in the photograph is doing that. That's why I bought the photograph, just so I could show Jeff this picture. You can scream and whine and cry. I mean, I guess
Somebody
if that's
was
what you
whining
wanted.
about it?
Dude, it was all over fucking internet. CNN even had a thing on it.
Oh, well, you know that I can't think of his name, but the organizer, the guy, the white power guy in the United States who organized the Virginia, that Virginia rally that went bananas. Was that Virginia?
I saw something about a white Aryan rally this morning on
but
CNN. I also saw on CNN that the Prime Minister, whoever she is from New Zealand's like, we're never going to release the names of the victims. A lot of people would say that's because those weren't the victims. I mean, there's a lot of weird shit surrounding this thing already.
But the head guy says that there's no affiliation whatsoever with this and fucking white power. Like, there's no you are not all these people that are jumping up and down and screaming about, oh, it's white power, it's white power. You don't see any motherfuckers. You don't see any pictures of fucking what was it? Bird. You don't see any pictures of Bird with Hillary Clinton going like this and shit, because this is a kid's game. Some fucking dumbass, probably 4channel. I'll bet 4channel is the one that's spreading that shit about white power, which
4chan?
means 4chan, which means it's a fucking joke. So, as far as what happened in New Zealand, here's my thoughts on what happened in New Zealand. If you are not willing to defend yourself, then you get what you get. The world is a crazy fucking place. Taking guns away is not going to save you. The world is a crazy fucking place. The second mosque that he went to, when they returned fire, he left. Here's the thing about people like that. Not 100%, but 90% of the time. 90% of the time, if they are confronted with a weapon, they will either fucking flee or they will commit suicide. Period. They're cowards. That guy is a coward. He picked that target because he knew that there wasn't going to be any fucking guns in there. They're a total coward. So if one person in that mosque would have had a gun, could have made a difference. If one person, if you watch the video, if one person or two people or four people would have just fucking turned around and confronted his ass, it would have turned out 100% different. There is a guy in the beginning of that video that is close enough to take the weapon from his hand. What does he do? He runs down the hall and gets shot in the back. That's, you know what? If you're confronted with that type of situation where there's a good possibility you're going to be killed, if you want to die that way, that's on you, man. That's on you. I mean, I'm not saying. What I am saying is, he's getting the reaction that he wanted to get. Everybody's blaming Trump, even though Trump had nothing to do with it. Holy fuck! Trump's not even, everybody's blaming everything but what actually is to blame, and that is that individual.
I don't know how the United States is even involved in the conversation.
He writes in his manifesto about how he wants America to go into civil war over guns, and so he actually writes in his manifesto about it. But
so
the reality
him doing
is
that over there is going to affect us over here, only because we let it.
Yeah, that's it. And the news media is doing exactly what he wrote down that they would do.
So where's his what's his history? Is he actually a fucking crazy white supremacist?
Outside of,
or are we going to find out that he's fucking?
Here's the thing.
Is he a Democrat? I mean, is that what we're going to find out?
No. Here's the thing. When we say so, it's interesting when we say Democrat and Republican here in the United States. It has
nothing.
Well, it has meaning within the United States. It's totally different when you're in.
No, I meant, are we going to find out that this dude actually had been in the United States and had been a citizen?
Weird. I don't think he had been to the United States, but he'd been to every other Muslim. He's been to every other. He's like the Lee Harvey Oswald. He's been to all the bad places, which doesn't make sense. Like, he'd been in Pakistan, which doesn't make sense. Why? Pakistan is predominantly Muslim. Why did you? What happened? What happened when you came to New Zealand that made the difference? There are more sheep in New Zealand than people. So, I am going to guess that you are going to find out that there is an underlying problem. There's an underlying problem in that community period that New Zealand is unwilling to talk about. They're going to blame the guns, and they're not going to talk about the fact.
How did all those Muslims get there?
That in a place called Christchurch. In a place
What's
called
the name of the town? Christchurch.
In a place called Christchurch, 2 fucking Muslim mosques, within arm's reach. I will bet that there is some undertones going on in that city that they are not willing to talk about, that they don't really want to address. I am sure that they are having problems with the community melding together, because here's the thing. They don't want to. They do not want to be a part of your society. They want to be the downfall of your society. So you enjoy that. You get rid of all your guns. It only makes it easier. Hell, they're actually talking about releasing the fucking British Army into London because so many people are getting stabbed with knives. Imagine that. The army.
Who do you think's doing the stabbing?
Army on the street. Yeah, they're not. You notice they don't talk about that. They don't talk about who's throwing the acid and who's doing the stabbing. They don't ever release that information. I guarantee you.
Anytime it's some youth.
I guarantee you 100%. If it was a bunch of Christians running around stabbing everybody, that would be in the fucking news. I guarantee you if it was a bunch of white guys running around stabbing everybody, that would be the lead in the news. But it's not. It's not them. It's the people who will not adjust to Western society.
Yet they want to be here.
Anyways, that was too much of a rant on my Muslim brothers.
Great show, guys. Hey, Skull. I gather you put a decent amount of time aboard a ship. Any tales of the Phantom Shitter? The reason I ask is because my dad, USN 41 to 61, told me some stories. Man, I'll bet he's got some fucking
the
crazy
Phantom Shitter.
Stories. Every ship has one.
Every ship has a Phantom Shitter.
Every group of fucking people anywhere is going to have it.
I honestly believe...
Captive group, I should say.
I honestly believe that this is what happens in the United States Navy. Because, see, the Navy has a lot of traditions. Navy has a lot of... They're kind of... The Navy's... It's not as cool as the Marine Corps as far as crazy traditions, but the Navy has some crazy traditions. Cross the equator on a fucking Navy boat. They have some crazy traditions. But this is what I think. Because they don't ever catch anybody. You've never heard the Phantom Shitter story where somebody got caught. So this is what I think happens. I think that when they pin on Captain, when they say, ooh, look at you. You are now the skipper of the USS Tarawa. And he puts that thing on there. I think what they do is they go... They just lean in and they whisper in his ear. First deployment, you have to take a shit somewhere on the boat. Phantom Shitter lives forever. I think that's what happens. I think it's the actual captains, the actual ship captains that have to take a shit on that boat to make the Phantom Shitter live forever.
And they gotta sneak down into your berthing areas.
Oh, it's not just berthing areas. It's everywhere. Like there'll be, a fucking turd in the...
How is there not
chow
cameras
hall
all through there? I mean, it's so...
The only place... Well, this is old Navy. I don't know about new Navy because there's women all over the place, so they probably have cameras everywhere now. Old Navy, the only place they had cameras is wherever they moved aircraft. Aircraft or boats. So like the well deck, when the LCUs would go out, you could watch that. I don't have a Phantom Shitter story. I have a Phantom Fuck story. So I'm on the Boxer, I think, but I'm with the officer of the day. I'm the fucking duty NCO, and we're up there, and they have black and white cameras that show the hangar bay and the fucking anywhere where there's aircraft that move.
John, the solution for the sleep issues is Elavil. Elavil. Sleep like a rock, 6 hours, and wake up feeling refreshed. It makes sense. Just don't make a habit of it. It's used for a wide variety of issues, depression, insomnia. I need an SOE helmet bag for my welding helmet. It has to have a pocket on the face side of the bag for extra lenses and batteries. Fuck it. Add it to the end of the tool bag, and that would actually be perfect. Weapons of mass destruction had as much to do with going into Iraq as freeing slaves to do with the Civil War. Speaking of stories, everyone should listen to the following in this order: the Declaration of Independence, the Constitution, the Federalists, the Anti-Federalists. You'll see the same worries that cause people to be against the Constitution is what is actually happening today concerning the centralization of power in the country.
Here's the thing about weapons of mass destruction and
they didn't find any?
here's the thing about weapons of mass destruction and Iraq is they actually did find weapons of mass destruction in Iraq.
Just recently, I thought they found a
They
bunch of shit.
actually used chemical weapons on their own people. That's a fact. It's not undisputed. It's a total fact that they fucking sprayed the Kurds with fucking mustard gas several times. Here's the thing that most of you people don't know
Did the
because
Kurds need spraying?
I don't know. Maybe. You never know with people. Here's my opinion.
If you went down where there was fucking thousands of people who won't work, like, I don't know, LA by the stadium, and you just released some gas.
Well, they're already getting typhus.
Those people would probably leave.
They're already
Go get a job. I mean,
No, I don't know if they'd get a job. But the chemical weapons. Anyways, they use chemical weapons. We found chemical weapons in Iraq. But more importantly, all Saddam's chemical weapons were moved across the border into Syria. That is the weapons that those were the weapons that we were like, hey, you have to get rid of all these chemical weapons, Syria. Ooh, it's because Saddam moved all his inventory over into Syria. So they were there, and don't get me wrong, my opinion is Muammar Gaddafi should still be in charge. Saddam Hussein should still be in charge. I can't think of the dude's name that runs Syria. Those people should be in charge of their countries. We had no business going in there and fucking that up. We did that solely because the Soviet Union no longer exists.
destabilize it.
We had to destabilize that part of the world so you, the taxpayer, would keep spending billions of dollars on weapon systems that we no longer needed.
Gotta have a boogeyman.
Gotta have a boogeyman. That's why we did it. I got no problem with Saddam Hussein was actually... The reality is Saddam Hussein was the stabilizing force within his country that kept Sunnis and Shias from fucking killing each other wholesale.
Just like the English, just like the British fucking... Look at Africa.
Yeah, look at South Africa, murder capital of the world. Hello.
Go watch Chappie. Like, that's a real place. They actually filmed that motherfucker. Sector 9, Chappie. They filmed that there. Like, that place fucking exists. One of my customers is a congressional consultant.
Uh-oh.
She's a political science graduate from Northwestern University. Pretty smart lady and fairly conservative. She has a few liberal tendencies, but overall intelligent and a good person. Point being, we were discussing the soap opera act that all the congressmen put on. Her reason is that they have to show they are fighting or they lose their donors, and if they can't pull money for the party, they are done. She said, majority of the congressmen start fundraising 6 months into term. Maybe 10% of their time is spent on legislation and committee work, and other 90% is fundraising and positioning for donations and unions of companies. So, the system is about as bad as it can get, in my opinion. We should focus on resurrecting the way Congress is elected and term limits and durations. What's your thoughts? 100%. I believe they have to start they fucking sit in a room like a fucking telecall center and just fucking phone calls. They're not going to be in front of the people doing shit. It's fucking fundraising, just like you said. And as far as passing and making the term limits and all that shit, They're the ones that vote on it. Like,
yeah, they're not going to vote.
They're not going to vote themselves out. Like, you have no say on any of that shit.
They're not going to vote their own term limits. It's just like when
great idea. Show us how to do it.
It's just like when Obama. It's just like when Obamacare was passed. Do you know? Are any of the people in the Senate or the House, are they on Obamacare? No, they have their own healthcare system. They are above you, my friend.
Yeah,
so
they were exempt from it.
They're exempt from all those things.
How do you think they live to be 200 years old?
And the truth is, it is all about money. Nancy Pelosi is the Speaker of the House right now, not because she represents the party. Nancy Pelosi is a genius when it comes to raising money. It's just a fact. She raises more dollars than anybody else. She's also cutthroat because she's been around longer than anybody else. Hell, Ronald Reagan called Nancy Pelosi and her family a crime syndicate. That's how long she's been around. So, she raises more money. That's how she's Speaker of the House. Plus, she's a little cutthroat. I mean, when they challenge her. Hot? She's a Democrat. Have you ever seen a good-looking Democrat?
I bet she was hot.
Man, they're not. Man.
I mean, she looks pretty good right now for 150.
Yeah, she does for 150.
If there was some Nancy Pelosi porn out there, I'd look at it.
There has to be. I mean, she was around in the 60s and 70s.
When they choked that bitch out accidentally and she died, they should not have revived her. InfoWars sells a really, really good sleep supplement. It has melatonin, echinacea, L-tryptophan, and other stuff. Man, it might just fucking kill you. It's all natural, works great, kicks in about 30 minutes. Right on. I'll definitely check that out.
InfoWars?
Yeah, that's Alex Jones.
That's Alex Jones.
So,
how do you order something from him when he doesn't have?
He has a website.
Oh, does he? Okay.
Yeah, they're selling fucking shit. Like, they're moving a lot of volume. There's a lot of momentum behind him. He just needs to set his own. He should have set his own shit up a long time ago. Just like, it's like using MeWe, right? But MeWe can be turned off. Like James made Liber TV.
Yeah.
Somebody big with money like Alex Jones, he should have seen that shit coming. Like, he should have. And maybe he does have something where it's hosted, because there is a lot of people that want to hear what he's saying. But then again, a lot of the traffic, people are seeing it because the algorithm was put in front of them. Yeah. But I mean, there's enough talk right now. Alex Jones, everywhere I look, I see shit from Alex Jones. Literally, whether Alex Jones is on has his channel up there or not, I see Alex Jones shit every fucking day. I mean, fuck, CNN's got him on there all the time. Not him, but talking shit about him. So yeah. He puts him in your mind. They put him in your mind. Hey Skully, have you ever heard of the John Glenn speech by Gunny Walgren?
I have not.
Nylon Ninja patch for John. There's a Versace Velcro patch. Hey, here's an idea. With the rise I've been seeing with all the quick deployment tourniquet pouches, why not use a tourniquet as a leg strap or build a subload with the tourniquet built into leg strap? Okay, first of all, I don't know about a rise. We've been building one for fucking 13 years now.
And do you really want to?
And there's a bunch of pants. Blackhawk made some pants that had tourniquets built into them. So you were jocked up when you'd fucking roll out in convoy and shit. They had terrible problems with them. And because they're built into the pants, they're not exactly where you need it to be. You don't know where you're going to get that wound. You don't know what's going to happen. You're trying to make something. And most people don't use leg straps anymore. A lot of dudes rolling out, there's no more subloads and shit. Most guys are using a drop offset. There's not even a thigh strap to that shit anymore. You're better off, like, if you are going into an area that's prone for IEDs, fucking stage up. You're going to have all four limbs are going to have tourniquets in place should you need them. But you're trying to, it's a neat idea. There's not a call for it, though.
This is what I'm going to say, clusterfuck clowns. Because that's what all that business is. There is not a call for you to have a fucking tourniquet strapped to your fucking arm, your helmet. I don't care if you are the dude that's out there with the fucking spike looking for the fucking landmines. There's not a call for it. There's just not a call for it. While tourniquets can save lives, if your tourniquet is in your fucking first aid kit, here's the thing. There is not a situation where some shit is going to happen, that you are going to instantaneously use your fucking tourniquet and it's going to save your life. It's just not. It's not going to happen. You are either going to fucking bleed out and die before that happens, or someone is going to go over and go, dude, tourniquet. It's just the whole scenario that everybody has where I gotta have fucking a tourniquet on my leg and 2 on my arm and hanging from my rifle. You're just a clusterfuck. You're gonna get out of the fucking Humvee and strangle yourself with a fucking tourniquet.
Keep in mind, I disagree. Keep in mind, Jeff was fighting wars before they had detachable magazines.
I am going to tell you that
Jeff's tourniquet was a fucking water weenie.
No, the Marine Corps tourniquet, the original Marine Corps tourniquet was a fucking khaki belt that every Marine was issued. That is the tourniquet.
What tourniquet did you have? You had the cats.
We had the cats. But the original... So, I will tell you, the original...
Yes, I know.
All the way through the Persian Gulf was a motherfucking khaki belt. What I'm saying is, if you have a traumatic amputation...
You're not going to have.
You are not the guy
Let's hope you are, though.
You're not the guy that's going to be putting your tourniquet on. Okay, it's going to be somebody else.
Let's say you have a slower bleed, and it's going to take a couple minutes for you to die. Maybe you have it together enough to put that thing on. Carry the fucking tourniquet. You don't have to carry 20 of them.
I don't have no problem with you having a tourniquet. I'm just saying, if you think you have to have a fucking tourniquet on your arm and in your fucking pants and all that bullshit to leave the wire, you're a clusterfuck.
I'm talking route clearance,
even any of that shit.
Ops, whatever.
Any of that shit. I've seen plenty of traumatic amputations, and guess who's putting the fucking tourniquet on? The corpsman. The corpsman who was in another vehicle that gets out and goes up there and goes, oh, that's fucking pretty bad, and puts a tourniquet on. You're just... What I'm saying is, there are 2 types of traumatic amputations. Those that you will survive, and those that you won't survive.
When there's some
tourniquet or no tourniquet.
When there's some bear attacks where dudes put tourniquets on themselves.
Oh, I'm sure bear attacks.
So wouldn't you rather have the tourniquet?
I have no problem with it. I'm not saying not have a tourniquet. What I am saying is, if you feel like you were just talking about the pants and the shirt, and all, if you feel like you have to have a tourniquet and all that shit, you know what? You're already dead. You're not going to fucking make it. If you got a tourniquet where it's supposed to be in your fucking first aid kit, then yes, you can probably, in a bear attack, use that fucking
winter's
tourniquet.
Coming. They're coming over the wall. Old Rumpelstiltskin here. We make a really nice pouch that'll go on your sling. We can put... You're going to grab your gun in the middle of the night. Something's happened to your kid. Or even the bad guy. Maybe you want to save... Don't go saving bad guys. We make a fucking pouch that'll go on any of our slings that will hold a tourniquet, whatever fucking tourniquet you want. We make quick deployment pouches. All of our stuff that we build to carry med gear will carry a tourniquet. You want to carry the tourniquet on the outside? We have a means to do that. Rubber bands worked forever. Bungee cord, shock cord worked forever. You want something that conceals it, keeps it clean, keeps it out of UV, keeps it out of the sunlight? We have a pouch for that. And typically when you pull the tab, it comes out in your hand. So no matter how you want to carry your tourniquet, no matter what tourniquet you want to carry, we carry 5 different fucking tourniquets. You want to buy a tourniquet? I have every tourniquet you want to buy. You want to carry a means to carry it? I have every way of carrying it. So if that's what you want to do, we have it. You know what I saw this weekend? I saw a World War I. No, it was World War II medical kit, and it was weird because it was like
It had sulfur powder in it.
It had ammonia inhalants. It had all the cardboard boxes, and all the shit was there. Yeah. There was like 12 different boxes. The bandages were in cardboard boxes, but it was like white. Amanda's like, "This is really cool. You're gonna buy this. Jeff will want to see this." And I go, "It's weird that it's white. I figured maybe it was for like field hospital use."
Probably, yeah. If it was white,
It was pretty neat. It wasn't cool enough that I bought it, but it was kind of neat. It was like a white canvas, maybe, pouch.
White canvas. That had to have been like a... You know what? It may have been World War One.
Maybe.
It may have been World War One.
It might have been.
Your medical stuff was a little more segregated in World War One.
And it was in good shape.
I'm sorry, I didn't know we were going with that. Buy a TK4 pouch for your sling.
Or a cat. I can put a cat or a soft tea. We've got all those too. Episode 60, John said tequila has no sugar. I was under the understanding alcohol turns to sugar in your body. Skully. That might be why I'm still fat.
Skully.
Skully.
I don't drink.
I agree with you. Communists will not rule me. I was physically sick when Obama was elected. He was a commie. I saw an interesting video today on AOC being an actress congressperson. An actress congressperson. It was on Liberty Hound. If you're interested, I joined the army to fight communism.
This is true. Kill a commie for mommy. I have the T-shirt. Yeah, AOC is just. I don't understand why Nancy. I mean, I do because Nancy Pelosi's actually talked about why she has not taken these junior congressperson under their wing and trained them in the ways. That's the one thing about Dianne Feinstein and Nancy Pelosi. Hate them, fucking hate them. Hate. Like you're not gonna find me say hate about somebody very often, but those two I hate. But you have to respect the way they got into power. I mean, when Nancy Pelosi and Dianne Feinstein came into power in California, they were fighting dudes. Like, not bullshit either. It was the fucking, I guarantee you there was plenty of times where they were walking through the houses of power and dudes were squeezing their asses and shit. So, they had to they earned their stripes to get where they were, even though I hate them both.
Somebody said that I said did I say it had no carb? I said it had no carbs, and somebody said that I said carbs and sugar, and you're right. I did actually hear that a couple days ago when it was on the podcast.
So does it have sugar? I thought it was
no,
the mix
it converts.
That has sugar.
Well, I don't use
converts.
the mix, but the alcohol converts to sugar.
Yeah.
Yes, Kentucky roads are shit. The road department spent tons of money and months on 65 and still like riding on an old wooden roller coaster beats your balls off.
I wonder why that is.
Weather?
Oh, yeah, I guess weather. Because Dwayne said that to me.
Lack of give a shit?
I think Dwayne said that to me. I'm like, I said something about they're always paving the roads here. Like, our roads are, the roads we have in Waverly are real nice. But I'm like, they're always paving the roads here. And he goes, is it because of the weather? And I'm like, the weather? The fuck does that have to do with anything? But, yeah, I guess it is because of the weather.
Hello. I had a question related to fabric. My knowledge of the subject is pretty limited, since I only occasionally do minor repairs, modifications, hemming with needle and thread. With regular canvas, if it develops a hole or a frayed edge, it needs to be repaired pretty soon. Otherwise, if it ever gets snagged on something, that regular canvas will tear apart very easily. My question is, what would happen if you tried to rip a piece of Cordura that doesn't have the edges hemmed up? You can't rip it. Like, you can't, I say that, but you can't take it and tear it. Like, two dudes playing tug-of-war could not tear it.
Yeah,
it's woven too close, and basically it has a coating on it. They spray it with polyurethane, durable water repellent finish. It's coated top, it's coated bottom. You can't fucking tear it. We burn the edges of it or hem them, just because over time the threads, if depending on the bias that it's cut on, you might get a thread that pulls out, a couple of them, and dudes see that and they think that it's the sewing. It's not. So we conceal that, or we sear it, we send them out clean like that. If you see that in your bag with a lighter, you can just burn those threads off real easily. Or we actually use a heat gun, or even a soldering iron works great. And if you don't have that, you could take a butter knife and heat it up on your stove, wrap it in something because it will transfer heat to your hand. Heat something up real hot, and then sear it with that.
And pay attention to what you're doing too,
because you'll melt through that bitch.
If you get one of those pieces, going, and you turn away, you might be looking at a 4-alarm fire in your hand there.
Not only that shit melts. It's plastic.
And it will burn the shit out of you,
and will melt and burn you to the bone.
It'll burn the shit out of you.
My question is, what would happen? Also, love the stories. Keep it up. Cordura is pretty tough. It will fray if left unfinished, but it is tear resistant for the most part. The urethane coating does a good job keeping the fibers together. Canvas or cotton is entirely easy to tear, easier to tear than 500. There you go. That's a good answer, Ian. Ian Cornell.
That's ripstop. The minute the Marine Corps went from the heavyweights to the ripstop, as soon as you got a hole, it would rip along that seam. It would just the fucking thing would rip right apart. I don't know why they called it rip stop.
Yeah, it didn't stop any ripping. Want to keep the podcast? Oh, did I print this twice? Just started carrying cash again to use the local small business. They are passing along a 4%. Oh, we already did this.
What?
We did that one.
Did you?
U.S. Army Corps engineers had the Mercedes Unimog. Yeah, we've done all these.
Oh, I think
the guy
you printed
complaining
it out
about sound is right. It pops a bit sometimes. Yeah, we've done all
You must
these.
have printed them twice.
Somehow this is Gabby's fault.
Well, of course, she's a woman. I don't know what all this is.
I do.
In this dinky printing.
Nylon Ninja Cat. Yeah, okay, so we've done all those.
Okay.
So these are some things, some dudes asked some questions. Thanks for the inconvenience. Did you get payment? I just want to make sure it processed and shipped. Sorry for the inconvenience. You paid with an email. Oh, this is just a dude. Fucked his order up. I canceled and refunded it. He said, sorry for the inconvenience. I said, no problem. This shouldn't even be in here. Pelter, headband ramp, multicam black. We built these. Surely this dude's order's already shipped. Voila!
Wow, more. Look at that. A whole nother baby cypress tree.
Episode 59. We get all our trees Friday.
Friday?
Yeah. Did you order trees?
I don't know.
You motherfucker, you didn't order any.
I don't know if I did or not. I put Gina on it.
You might want to find out. Pickup. Well, she could have scheduled. There's a pickup by you, but there's a pickup at like the museum over here.
Yeah,
New Johnsonville.
New Johnsonville. Yeah.
So we pick up 240 trees Friday. Amanda, I sent Amanda a link. There's actually a video on there on how to come pick your trees up and shit.
Gina went. So Gina went and got the taxes done. Right. So she got the taxes done.
How was it this year? Good.
Good. Yeah.
Good.
She got taxes done.
Are you a registered farm?
I'm a registered farm.
So did that help like you thought?
Yeah. Well, I got my tax thing.
Your tax exempt thing.
The tax exempt thing, so I can go buy, shit for tax exempt for the farm. But Gina went and was talking to the tax lady.
But did it make a huge difference on your taxes to your advantage this year?
I believe so.
Okay.
I believe so. So Gina went and was talking to her, and she'd mentioned you buy these trees for whatever. And then the lady's like, oh, did you go to the fire department and get your free trees? And Gina's like, what? She's like, yeah, they were giving trees away this weekend. And Gina's like, what are you talking about? And so she pulled it up. She's like, yeah, here's the place. This is where they were giving free trees away. And she's like, man, I gotta pay attention to that stuff more. But apparently they give trees out all over the place down here in Tennessee. You just gotta find it.
Anytime you hear that, let me know. We will take every employee to go get some trees.
I know. That's why I was like, man, you gotta be on point with that shit, because I want trees. I want to throw trees up.
I'm gonna make a forest, and when we have trees where we're not sure where to put them, we're gonna go put them other places.
Put them in other
farmers' fields, and
we're gonna Johnny Appleseed that shit.
Yeah, all up and down the highway.
Jack's gonna come out and he's gonna have a fucking forest
in his corn. John Skully, if you could have a conversation with any three people from history, who would it be? Hitler, Stalin, Mussolini.
It's pretty good, actually. That's actually a pretty good.
I know everybody's gonna say Jesus, but you said history.
That's a pretty good. You've got some pretty good guys there. I would say Mussolini's son.
Why his son?
Because his son survived the war. So his son survived the war. So his son was it's actually pretty funny. I was listening to a podcast about blues singers, and his son thought he was a blues pianist, and actually invited these really prominent blues singers over to Italy to show his prowess on the piano, and they were worried because it was El Duce's son that they couldn't say anything bad, and so
he didn't get any critique.
No, but he said, like he goes, the guy's like, we didn't want to tell him he was stinking up the place, but El Duce's son asked him, what'd you think about my performance? And the guy's partner immediately went, that was a real motherfucker what they did to your father. Just totally changed the subject on him. But let's see, who would it be? I would want to talk to Abraham Lincoln. I would want to talk to I'm kind of in the same. I feel like I don't think I would want to talk to Stalin because I know a lot about Stalin and he was a motherfucking madman. So maybe definitely Adolf Hitler. I mean, he's a madman too, but Stalin was a sociopath, and I don't think there would be much conversation. He would just want you to dance. So I don't know about Stalin.
Yeah, or kill you mean?
No, dance. Like
he wants to dance with you.
He used to make his inner circle. They would come to his house at night, and he would play music, and they would have to dance, and you did not want to be the first person not to dance. If you're at that level, right? If we're all at the pinnacle, if we're all sitting around the round table, and you are afraid to stop dancing because your boss might have you killed, that's a problem.
I thought it would be like child sacrifices and orgies. Well, it would
I'll bet he did all that shit too.
In the United States, it would be.
I bet he did all that shit too. So let's see. Lee Harvey Oswald. I just need to know if he did it, bro. That's all.
Fucking we know a dude like.
And I don't know. History, maybe.
What about still alive?
Still alive. I'd really like to talk to President Trump.
Trump, yeah.
I'd like to talk to Trump and be like, dude, get off the Twitter. Reagan, yeah. He would be easy to talk to. Reagan. AOC. Because I think it would just be hilarious. That's about it. I don't know. I really don't have a need to talk to anybody from history.
Tony Robbins?
No, man. You can get his tapes.
I'd like to talk to
you get his
Tony
tapes.
Robbins, Ed Milet, Andy Frisella.
You can get his tape.
I don't think I'm far from.
You could probably talk to Andy Frisella.
Yeah, I'm not far from.
Give him a little call. Tell him just all you. I
don't want to call him though. I want him to call me.
All you got to do is start complaining about the what is it? Super Greens.
Super Greens.
Super Greens, and then they'll have him call you.
Call up there and yell at them for super beats.
Super beats. Yeah, these super beats you put out.
You motherfuckers, this is all sugar. Super beats. Super beats. Super beats. Super beats. I wonder if they tell you that they don't make them. There's a story out there that somebody called up and asked about spark plugs or spark plug wires. And the dude was like, you got the wrong place. This is First Form Nutrition. It was somebody fucking with him or whatever.
Right.
And it's like, kind of like, fuck you. Hung up. Well, the dude actually called him back. He was like, hey, man, I just talked to our local parts store. This is the thing you need. This is what you're looking for. And actually, I don't know how staged it was, but this is the dude who was going to prank First Form, got the dude on the phone, and the dude's like, yeah, you got the wrong fucking place, buddy. But the dude actually ended up calling him back with the fucking information that he needed.
That's cool.
So that's kind of Andy's thing, like 100% complete, customer satisfaction. But then again, you hear him talking about, cut your losses. There's a point where you cut your losses too,
I think you're.
Amanda had a point the other night though. So when I started doing shipping, I'd never shipped anything until
Recently.
Monday, a week ago. And I'm like, why do we have to click these I got to click like 10 boxes to ship a package. Click, another page, click. The thing what takes the longest to shipping is waiting for the computer to switch screen. So I'm like, why are we even printing this fucking packing slip? We already have a fucking invoice right here. I go, it says all the same shit. She goes, well, we've written on some of it. I go, okay, well, the ones we didn't write on, why are we printing a fucking... Like, why can we not make this motherfucker faster? We only use priority shipping. We don't ever use first class shipping.
Right.
So why don't we have... There's got to be some way in this program, like you can set your preferences where it's just not there.
Right.
Like, as advanced as this software is, why the fuck can't we have somebody customize this? Or better yet, why don't we just have on the invoice, why don't we have a barcode where we go, beep, and it just fucking does all the shit we need it to do, right? And then a lot of it is that we have so many products, as we've built new products and shit, we never fully entered the parameters.
Right.
So if it's one item, like a belt, we know that fits in a small flat rate box. Some of it populates small flat rate. Some of it you have to pick priority mail, wait for the screen to change. Small flat rate box, wait for the screen to change. What kind of confirmation do you want? Do you want to have a signed signature, shipping confirmation? What do you want? So I'm like, fuck it. We could save 30 minutes out of the day if we don't print these fucking packing slips. She goes, John, like dead serious. She's like, John, would you ever fucking buy something from Andy Frisella and get an invoice instead of a packing slip? I'm like, God damn it, you're right. You're right. Fucking, here I am trying to cut this little tiny corner off that nobody will fucking notice. And everything in the last 2 years that we have fucking set this in motion and that I've implemented, we've put into effect through everybody in the company. She's right, he wouldn't. I mean, from Andy Frisella's companies, you actually get a fucking handwritten note. You don't ever fucking get something in the mail from them that doesn't have a fucking actual handwritten note from the dude that packed it.
Let's not start that.
No shit. You couldn't read mine. I can't read my writing.
Let's not start handwritten notes.
But we're actually shopping. We're looking for something software wise, but with a fucking barcode on it. So it'll actually, when you order, when it populates the order system, it's going to assign a barcode to it. So we'll have
It's doable. The problem is going to be the entry portion, the data entry portion on that.
No. Just we'll still have to. We're almost there. We're just going to implement it so that it actually prints out. We'll have to print, instead of printing on paper, we'll have to print on a form paper. And that form paper, just like when you get some shit from Amazon, has a peel off sticker. We're printing on a sticker paper, really. And you peel that off and it just goes on the box.
Gotcha.
So when we pull the box, and so the slip will have it up here, a barcode, but the box will also have a barcode. So click, and it fucking just pulls that shit up. It would save, at that point, if we had something to do that, it would save probably 2 man hours out of the day. Because like the longest part of shipping is waiting for the computer.
Yeah.
John and Skully, if you could have a conversation, we did that one. I need some land in Camden to come take y'all coon hunting with hounds. Collaboration video for mine and your YouTube channel. Nightlife Kennel. I think that is fucking 100% doable. Shoot me an email. There are guys around here that coon hunt behind dogs. Nobody like really serious. But let me know. I know we can go out in the bottoms and shit, and that we could totally do that. I got a friend with an airboat too we need to go video with.
Airboats.
So, like, he's like the world champion fucking alligator gars. So they're trying to actually put that fish on the fucking endangered species list somewhere. And goddamn giraffes are on the fucking CITES list now too. So giraffes have just become a fucking problem.
We mean endangered species problem. So we're not going to be able to get a... Well...
No, we'll be able to get them because they're in custody. Like,
I don't know why
captive bred, we can get them. We don't have one because you have to have a 27-foot barn for it.
As soon as we have a zoo.
But skulls, like
Oh yeah, meaning just buying a skull.
People spend about $1,000 on a skull because they don't know where to buy it. I've bought giraffe skulls for $400, $500, big ones, and I wanted another one because I wanted them to look at each other. But that has just changed over the last fucking 2 weeks, motherfuckers.
Shit changes quick, man.
Great. All that means is mine's worth $2,000 now. Great podcast, as usual. Had I known this was coming, though, I would have bought, I'd have 100 of them. Great podcast, as usual. Much thanks. Aircraft mechanics are in demand, and the demand is growing. The workforce in aviation is getting older. I'm a 56-year-old aircraft engine mechanic for Pratt & Whitney here in Green Mountain State. We have been starting guys at over 22 an hour with no experience right out of school. The jobs are out there. Military aircraft mechanics can get a license just by testing out, depending on documented experience. Would like to give a shout out to the Vermont Air National Guard Green Mountain Boys, a top-notch unit. They are transitioning from F-16s to the new F-35 fighters. I believe they are the first Guard unit to get them. Thanks for the best regards, Todd. Right
I
on,
watched.
Todd.
This is how crazy that is. So Lance Corporal, Lance Corporal in the Marine Corps is usually 18 years old, maybe 20 years old, but usually Lance Corporals are really young. Corporal's going to be probably 21, 22 years old. On one of my deployments, there's not a lot to do when you're out at sea, but they had to change a fucking engine out in a Harrier. In a fucking Harrier. And I watched 3 Lance Corporals and 1 Corporal over a period of days pull a fucking engine completely out of a Harrier take another engine, put it in that fucking aircraft, and then that pilot get in that plane and fly that fucking plane around the Pacific Ocean. Yet that same Marine Corps wouldn't let those Marines stay out past midnight. That's just fucking amazing that you have these young kids out there with the capability to do the things that they can do, and the powers that be are so afraid that they're going to get in trouble that they don't let them stay out late at night.
Love the doctor's mask. Keep up the great work.
Doctor's mask?
Yeah, the plague mask. So that's on this is off the video. So when I started the video the other day, that mask was made by a chick in Russia. Her Instagram page is Dappy Stitch. Go check her out if you're listening to this. Just go over there, check her page out, and just leave a comment. Hey, John, at SOE talked about it. Just tag us in it so she knows that we're sending her traffic, because I'm about to buy a bunch more shit from her.
From Russia, huh?
I'm gonna I'm to the point where I have too much shit, so I'm gonna rent a booth at an antique mall.
No.
Check it out. A very, very high-end antique mall, and we've become friends with several of the ladies that run this, work there. So everybody with a booth, there are ladies that are there every fucking time I'm there.
How about rent a spot at that Thunderdome place?
Thunderdome.
That one antique mall you went to where they were doing tattoos.
Oh, god damn. Holy shit. Flea World. What was it called?
I don't know.
Extreme Flea.
Where was it? Was that in Kentucky?
It's in Kentucky, man. Kentucky, it is the most fucking sister-brother fuck. They're not even cousin fucking. Like, there are dudes, like, with 3 eyes fucking their, one-eyed sister. It's some crazy shit. Anyways, there's a lot of... It's not just antiques in the antique malls. There's a lot of, and I don't know if it's really taking advantage of somebody, but so Amanda saw this crown, right? It's pretty neat, and she wanted it. It was like $40 or something, right? It's neat, looks fucking super patinaed, like it was copper, but it's got like little crystals on it. Neat. So we get it. When we go there the next week, we happen to be in there, and I go, didn't you buy that crown? She goes, yeah, that's at the house. And I go, is that not the same? She goes, that is the same fucking crown, because they're buying them from wholesalers. It said right on the buy, flip it over, it says made in India. A lot of that shit is, whatever. But it meets the theme. And those plague masks are super cool. Like, I could buy those full retail, put them in the mall and sell them for I could double my money to the same clientele that are going to be coming in looking at the shit that I'm trying to unload.
I thought you were talking about taking the stuff upstairs and putting it in there.
Some of it. Not, but I just have, I have too many fucking chairs. Like, I find a chair that's super cool, right? When I started this, I was just buying, like, cool chairs. But now my rule is I only buy shit with a face. It has to have a face and feet. What that means is it has carved people, lions, dragons, gargoyles, griffins.
I like it.
And it has to have claw feet. So as I find cooler shit,
I'm going to move some of the other stuff out.
Like, who was upstairs? Somebody was upstairs the other day. I took some... Oh, Kent. Kent's like, God damn, you got a lot of chairs up here.
There is a lot of chairs
I go, they're nice chairs. He goes, you must have a lot of people just sitting around. Like, nobody
ever sits in those chairs. The only time you ever see anybody sitting in the chairs, honestly, is when Derek's in there doing tattoos.
Parties.
Yeah.
And the pre-party. The party before the party.
Anytime Derek is in there doing tattoos, there'll be people sitting in those chairs.
There'll be motherfuckers that come here to get a tattoo from Derek that don't even know who the fuck we are. Like, they're here in my building, loitering, hanging out, farting in my upstairs fucking in my loft, and we don't even know who the fuck they are. Like, they don't have any interest in what we're doing.
Gina last night, she's like, we were watching Den of Thieves. Mm-hmm. You seen that movie?
No. Oh, yeah, great movie.
Yeah,
fucking
Machine
50
Gun.
Cent? Yeah.
50 Cent.
Modern Day Heat.
And last night we're watching it, and she's like, man, that guy looks so familiar. The main character.
Yeah, oh, God. I shot a picture of it while I was in there and sent it to him. And I go, doesn't that dude look like Derek? And she showed me, she sent him one too.
She's like, I cannot look at him and not think of Derek. He looks so much like Derek. I'm like, you're fucking right.
Yeah, he looks just like Derek. So Bill, new guy Bill, I'm like, what'd you do this weekend? He's like, I was just kind of looking for some furniture for, my apartment. I go, what do you need? He goes, I need a kitchen table. I go, I will give you the table that's upstairs. I'll give you the table and the 4 chairs. I go, they're red velour chairs. They're kind of flamboyant, super comfortable. So last night, I'm like, pull your truck around. I had brought all the chairs downstairs. And so I brought all the chairs downstairs. And I'm like, come on, let's get this table. He's like, we should probably pull the legs off. I go, are you fucking kidding me? One dude carried that motherfucker upstairs all together. So we get it downstairs. And he's kind of like, I'm like, do you want me to go down the stairs first? He's like, no, I got it. So he doesn't walk down the stairs backwards. So it's already like flipping and twisting the table. I'm like, flip the table over so the legs are away from the fucking glass wall.
Glassy windows.
So we get it downstairs, set it there. He pulls his truck around. He's looking at it. I go, come on, let's put it in. He goes, I think we need to take the legs off. I go, you're really stuck on taking these fucking legs off. So we take the legs off. He puts it in and he goes to drive away. And I'm like, hey, motherfucker, hey. What about the 4 chairs? Oh, I don't think I can use the chairs. Motherfucker, if you weren't taking the chairs, I wouldn't have given you the table.
Yeah.
Because I can't sell 4 chairs. I could sell a table with 4 chairs, but I can't, I'm giving you this shit that I'm literally going to sell for $500. Not a question about it.
I always find that so funny when you
help somebody out.
And they're like, I can't really use the cushions that are on that couch you want to give me. What?
By the way, I shit in your toilet and I didn't flush it,
Yeah.
Because so on Facebook Marketplace has pretty much killed Craigslist. I mean, not yet, but it's coming. If you have used Craigslist, and I use Craigslist a lot, and then Facebook Marketplace pops up, Facebook learns what you like. So the shit you're interested in, as more people post that type of stuff, you see it come up in your notifications. I've been looking at Restoration Hardware couches, Restoration Hardware, and I put in leather. I have several pieces upstairs. When we moved everything into the building and we set upstairs up, we just bought, I was going to buy this couch. This motherfucker. We go over to look at this couch, and he wants it, so he gets the couch. I got some other stuff. Anyways,
Gina wanted it. I don't know.
So he gets the couch. It's cool.
Still have it. It's an awesome.
And they have this huge sectional that you can seat fucking 12 people on it. Yeah. You can sleep 3 people on it, no problem. So it's upstairs. It's blue. It's cloth. It's not junk, but it's definitely not fucking high end. So I'm looking for a couch that matches all my other shit. And Restoration Hardware makes a couch that is like 43 inches, 46 inches, 50 inches. That's the ass cushion part. So like when I sit on those couches, I can just lean back a little and literally go to sleep, seated in a normal position. Amanda can almost fucking lay down flat on that couch without long ways. So one comes up. It's a $10,000 couch. Like, no bullshit, no exaggeration, 10 grand. This dude in
Restoration Hardware, though, all their shit is...
Yeah, super expensive. Yeah. So, one comes up. It's 10 feet long. I'm like, awesome. He wants $2,500 for it. It's a $10,000 couch. So I hit him up. I'm like, hey, I want this thing. What's the deal? He goes, well, there's 4 people ahead of you, so if it doesn't sell, I'll let you know. I go, have any of them paid? And he doesn't reply to me. So the next day, I don't hear shit. I forget about it. So like 4 or 5 o'clock, I'm like, hey, did anybody come pick the couch up? Are you paid for the couch? And he goes, it's pending pickup. I go, and I'm thinking, what the fuck does pending pickup mean? I go, why don't you just mark it sold? I'll PayPal you a deposit right now. My guys get to work at 8 in the morning. We'll drive out there. I'll be there by 11 o'clock. We'll bring a trailer. We'll load this thing up. I'll pay you in cash. I'll even pay you the deposit back in cash, and you can just PayPal me back if you don't want to fuck with PayPal. And he goes, well, I just want to keep it fair and go in the order that people contacted me. And I'm thinking, okay, it's your couch, whatever. I go, man, you must be new to this. And I go, that's not a dig on you. I go, every single time I have sold something on Facebook or Craigslist, The dudes that say they're coming never fucking come. The dude that shows up is the one I always sell it to. How many when we put the goats up for free?
Yeah.
We had 20.
Oh,
it took
my
a
God.
month to give them away. We had 20 different fucking people say they were coming, and every time somebody said they were coming, 10 other dudes would hit me up and like, I can be there in an hour. I'm like, man, I got somebody on the way. Fucking money talks. That dude basically, he replied back. He basically goes, "Fuck you! Don't ever contact me again." He didn't say fuck you, but he's like, "You can consider it sold. I wouldn't sell it to you anyways. Don't ever contact me." Whatever. I just don't understand. I don't understand the loyalty to somebody you don't fucking know, especially when money's involved. Like I would have been there. I'd have been there that night, just me and Amanda, and figured out how to get that fucker.
It's first come, first serve, not
But
stand
whatever.
in line for your ticket.
Yeah, it just makes no sense. I don't know why I even went off on that. Because the table. I'm just clearing stuff out that we're not using. Just listen to episode 61. It had 2 thoughts. 1, remember hearing a comedian, can't remember who, say that any chick that's crazy enough to bash your brains in with a frying pan is the same crazy chick that's going to screw your brains out. In regards to people talking about the currency devaluating and economic collapse, looking at Venezuela now, their streets are literally covered in their useless currency. Like Skully said, learn skills, make yourself useful.
And we're, here's the sad part about that is the United States is the reason why they're throwing their money in the fucking streets. We are creating a situation in Venezuela that is making their money fucking worthless. The United States, is doing that.
Try to put yourself in a position where if money was useless,
Yeah.
it wouldn't affect you. Like, would it affect us? Fuck yeah, it would affect us. But we're on some property. We're pretty fucking rural. We have immediate access to water, multiple sources that are not contaminated and could not be contaminated until they killed us. We have food stored. We have fuel stored. We have multiple sources of heating. We have property where we can put stuff and have food coming out of it within 6 weeks.
Yeah.
I mean, if you truly think something's coming, get yourself into a position like that. Get the fuck out of California, New York, Washington, D.C. Like, if you're really prepping, that's your move. Like, that's your move. Figure out some way to make money someplace where it's not as much of a concern.
And John has hit on something that most people are unwilling to. They're unwilling to come to the realization.
Lifestyle design.
If you live in New York City, if you live in Los Angeles, if you live in San Diego, and any of that stuff happens, it's not going to matter how much prep you have done. Because eventually, everybody's going to know where the prep is. And the mob is going to rule those roosts. I mean, fuck, if you live in LA, you're just screwed. You're screwed. So, I mean, the reality is, if you really want to protect your family and get the fuck out of those cities, because those cities are going to be death traps. When the big earthquake comes, you're not going to be able to leave. If tomorrow they said a fucking meteor was going to hit San Diego, guess what?
Yep.
You wouldn't be able to leave.
Shit, you have anything happen in San Diego, minor earthquake that doesn't even do damage, and you're not going anywhere.
Just look at your routes of egress. I mean, the reality is, and
out of California, you don't have anything out of California other than the 15.
Why is it in all natural disaster movies, like whether it's a flood or a fucking meteor or whatever, the freeway is always packed that's leaving town, but there are never any cars on the side of the freeway that's going into town?
Because they open freeways up both directions out.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. Why aren't people going on? I don't know why they do that in the disaster movies. They always show that one empty side of the freeway. It's like, you guys could go over there and drive. Nobody's coming to town.
And if we're having a conversation like that, I trust that you've read a good friend of ours, David Crawford. Because we're friends because of the book. I actually reached out to him. I go, hey man, I read your book. Literally has changed my life. That was a catalyst to us leaving California for sure. Survival Podcast, Jack Spirko, David Crawford, the book Lights Out. And we're here, we landed in Tennessee because Jaeger's here, Attack Response. Lights Out is the book David Crawford wrote. I'm actually quoted on the back of it. I'm one of 3 people that's quoted on the back of the book. It's about civilization kind of collapse, lights out, obviously, something knocks the power out, EMP, and it's about a little community and what happens and how they go out and find things and how they come together, and they basically each have an acre, 2-acre lots. Like, it's very much like Cedar Lake Estates where I lived. One way in, one way out, easy to put up a fucking guard. You're not going to drive vehicles in there other than the main point. You have high ground, 2 private lakes inside there. It was very much like the book. So read that. It'll give you some ideas. Now, as far as being in a city and your plan is when some shit happens, I'm going to leave. David also wrote a book, a story. He wrote a bunch of short stories. This one became a book. He's got a second one. Last time he was here, I'm like, David, you've got to finish this book. What do we have to do to get this done? He's like, okay, I'll do it. But he has a short story called The Bug Out. Just search it. Search survival fiction, David Crawford, The Bug Out. It's a short read. It's probably 40, 50 pages. If you're thinking that you're just going to bail town, read this book. If nothing else, it's survival fiction. It's fun. Kind of puts you in that mindset, makes you think about some things you didn't think of. Read that story, though. Just have plans, man. Practice your plan. Live your plan. Have fucking 2 plans for every fucking other plan, because one of them's not going to work. The one that makes the most sense, that you've practiced the most, that's not going to work. Fucking it never does. We own every fucking tool in the world. It takes us an hour to go find them or make something happen when we need to do a 5-minute fix. I could literally, I could fucking make a tool a lot of times faster than we can find the tool. I just need a dude. I need Pierre to come in here, or Rappaport just come in here and, okay, here are 15 tool sets. Combine them and give us a whole one.
Yeah.
It's easier, like, you know why we have 15 tool sets? Because we're always missing some tools.
You need it.
We literally just go buy them, like, okay, this one we're not ever going to open.
What you really need is an aircraft. What do they call
cage? The checkout tool.
Yeah, you actually need a
like
monkey.
A weapons cage.
You need a monkey that's just standing in there like, oh, I'm sorry, John, you can't have the socket wrench unless you give me your I know you bought it, but if you don't give me your ID, no socket wrench.
Yeah,
that's what you need.
We have like 5, 6 fucking roll around tool chests and shit. The fucking closest we got was when Tyler fucking combined them. That mask was super creepy. I love bizarre stuff. Could you do a walking tour of some of your audio? I'm working on that. You guys don't know, but like I always, it could be reptiles 1 month. I won't buy any reptiles for 6 years, and I'm like, I'm gonna buy this tangerine Honduran milk snake, and before you know it, because it costs the same to ship 1 animal as 30 animals, I'll buy 30 of them.
Yeah.
So that's kind of the oddities. I'll go out looking for stuff. It's the hunt. It's always the hunt. It's going someplace to get a photo, or going someplace to capture some rare animal just to take a photo of it and let it go, or someplace to find the last exotic earthworm on Earth and eat it. I mean, whatever it is, and that's how the oddities are. We're always on the chase, and I bring them in, and I've been. Then when oddities come in, or whatever I purchase comes in the building, I have an itemized invoice and a oral receipt, and then the oddities, and I catalog them all. I take photos of all of them. I have a private Facebook page, and I keep all that shit on Facebook, and I take a picture of the item, a picture of the receipt. This is what I paid, because my intent is to take them, and as I get better ones, sell them. Little museum maybe. When people come here, I take them upstairs and they can see some of the shit. Some of it's not here, some of it's here. But it's a mess upstairs because I have so much shit that I haven't just set up. Like at a museum, you only see like 5% of the museum. The rest of it's in storerooms and shit. And that's kind of what I'm doing. It is a mess. Yes, I will eventually do a video upstairs again. There's a bunch of them out there, live feeds you'll see upstairs. I did a live feed this morning while I was doing cardio. So yeah, I will. I just have to clean it up. I have too much shit. Pierre goes upstairs and he's like, holy fuck, bro. Like, what are you going to do with all this? Like, for somebody that doesn't know, to me, I'm like, well, I can sell that for $600. But it's like the dude, it's like Jaeger always says. Everybody knows the dude with like, I have $10,000 of Star Wars. You don't ever meet the dude that has $10,000. You're like, where'd you get that $10,000? I just sold my Star Wars
collection.
You don't ever meet that dude. That dude you've never seen. Everybody has a friend with $10,000 worth of Star Wars shit. You don't ever meet the dude that sold the Star Wars shit. Kevin Hart, comedian.
Yeah, Kevin Hart, funny as shit.
Just listened to episode 61. Had two thoughts. One.
61.
Episode 61 and had two thoughts. Yeah, audio is.
Oh. Gotcha.
Had two thoughts. I remember hearing a comedian, can't remember who, say that any chick that's crazy enough to bash, we did that one. Yeah. Assume all your information is out there at Proact, don't react. I can find anyone. Most people can. It's not overly difficult. No, that's 100%, man. Most people can do amazing things. They just don't have the wherewithal. They don't have the fucking drive. People inherently are lazy. That's why you can trap them. That's why people are so easy to kill. They will walk down the easiest path. And that's people are lazy.
Pigs will always walk down the easy path. And then I'll fucking hit him in the face with CS gas. Boom!
Do you actually hit him with a CS?
Oh, fuck, man. I fucked up one of the...
Do you like to mix your CS with HC? I like to drop 2 HCs and 1 CS.
Oh man, the CS. We got the exploding baseball CS grenades, and
I like to throw a Nico flashbang and one of the rubber steam balls in there with it too.
Now that would be fun, but we don't get those. Dirty pigs.
He's talking about sniper candidates. Assume all your information's out there. Most idiots put their info out, and even the ones who don't are still easy. Anyways, a fake female profile scored us literally dozens of repos. Okay, so here's the deal. Credit Karma, of all places, was like, or maybe it was Avast, my antivirus. Anyways, somebody's like, hey, I get this email like, we found your password on the deep web. I'm like, whatever. And I never like open emails I don't know, especially if they go to my junk mail. But it had one of my fucking prominent passwords that I've used a lot of places, right? And I use a password that's uppercase, it's words, it's letters, it's symbols, and then another word. Holy shit, Jason made a password for me. Like, I can't even remember the fucking password. It's fucking insane. Anyways.
It's keystrokes though, man. That's the problem.
It was one of my real passwords. Like, I went through and changed fucking everything. It was out there.
That's why they say, every 6 months, yeah, you got to change your passwords.
I've really got to pee, and we're at an hour. We're over an hour and 45 minutes.
So I guess
we'll cut that for tomorrow.
That for tomorrow.
Today's was kind of short anyway, so if tomorrow's short, we'll be good.
Was it short? You got to pee? All right, John's got to pee, so we'll see you all tomorrow.
Yeah, most of what we did was from the day before.
Gotcha.